guys, so today we're making super soft green tea mochi filled with a nice red bean paste. It's not too sweet, it's super fragrant, and I know that you guys are gonna like it, so let me show you how to make them. Okay, so the first step to making these mochis is to really freeze the filling. It's going to help you a lot later. Basically, I've taken a can of your sweet red bean, and you guys can choose to make this yourself, and I've scooped out 2 teaspoon scoops onto here, and then I'm basically gonna freeze it just for a couple of hours up until they get nice and hard. So now we're gonna make the green tea mixture that goes into the mochi, and this is all of the steps you should do before you make your skins for this. So I have about a teaspoon of green tea powder, and I just mix it with just a little bit of water just to get rid of all of the lumps and then to get it into kind of like a nice thick paste consistency. The final preparation step is to really take a sheet pan and then dust it with potato starch. I like potato starch because it happens to be, I feel like it's a lot finer than cornstarch, and definitely like you can see the powder fly up. So definitely, you know, be careful as you're breathing it in, and you just want a nice kind of light layer on the bottom so that the mochi doesn't really stick. So now it's time for the wrapper. So I have about 1/3 cup of sweet rice glutinous flour, and then to that I'm gonna add in 1 tablespoon of sugar, followed by about 1/3 cup plus 2 tablespoons of water. Now, I would definitely err more on the side of it having, being a little bit more wet, because later on when you heat it up, it will kind of coagulate a lot, and you don't want this mixture to dry up too much. So once it reaches the consistency of a pancake batter, put it into the microwave. Mine is about 1200 watts, and I put it in for about a minute, and it kind of gets like this, and you just want to kind of work it for 1 to 2 minutes, and then put it into the microwave again for about 30 seconds. You probably want to adjust it accordingly, but you know, once you get it to this, you're going to be pretty good. So now we're going to put the green tea mixture in, and I have to say that this stuff was not the easiest to incorporate, but basically you need to work it. I think I worked it for a good 4 to 5 minutes, and it was just really sticking the spatula in and then just mixing it around a bunch of times and stretching out the mochi, and just know that it is like that. If it happens to be a little bit thick, like let's say that you put it into the microwave a little bit too long, feel free to just add in a little bit of extra water, because the rice flour will actually soak that up and it will be okay. This is looking uber violent and aggressive, but basically it ends up looking like this, and once everything is homogeneous, you can feel free to start putting it onto that potato starch. So I'm just scooping all of that in, and this is no easy process either, but if you wet your spatula, as I found out a little bit later, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do. So I'm just dusting the top with a little bit more of that potato starch, because the mochi is super sticky, so I kind of overdid it a little bit. And you guys can see that I put on my kitchen gloves. If you guys happen to find these at a kitchen supply store, it's super useful for really sticky situations like this. And I'm going to just make a log, and I'm going to divide this up into about 6 pieces. So you actually don't need a rolling pin or anything for this. Simply just use your fingers and then press it out, I would say into probably about like a circle 3 inches in diameter or so. It's really depending on how big your filling ball is. So you just kind of press it out like that and kind of like slowly stretch it out, and if you happen to have a tear on it, you can easily kind of press it back together. So once you have all of the discs pressed out, you can finally just bring out that filling, kind of last minute, so that they don't melt or anything. And if you happen to find that there's a little too much potato starch on, just take a brush and then just simply brush that off. So once you put the filling in the center, for me the easiest way is to just push the left and the right sides together, and then the top and the bottom sides, so you're kind of making just a little box. And then for mochi, it's very interesting, because essentially what you do is you're just trying to squish all of the mochi together and close the seam. And because it's still fairly sticky underneath that potato starch, this is going to stick together fine, and then the seam is going to somewhat disappear. And actually we're going to be dusting it later with a little bit of a matcha powder, so you're not really going to see it too much anyways. So you can see just really top to bottom, and you're just pinching and squeezing, and that's kind of how you get the seam to disappear, and then you're good to go. So I'm just dusting these just with a little bit of matcha powder. If you guys happen to find matcha a little too bitter, I would just cut it with just a little bit of powdered sugar, and then you mix it all together and then dust that through. So obviously I wanted to cut one of these guys for you, and I did not freeze this or anything yet. So this is really just hot off of the press, and I just wanted to see, like, you guys to see how soft it is, because I could barely hold it together because the mochi is just so fresh. For this guy, I wanted to do it for photography, so I actually put it into the freezer for about 2 hours, and that's kind of how it was able to keep the shape and how I was able to cut it down. But all of these guys are just so fresh, and if you just stick it into the refrigerator in an airtight container, it will still kind of maintain its freshness, and it'll still be pretty soft in about a day or so. But I definitely recommend eating these guys fresh. Anyways guys, there you go, my matcha green tea mochis filled with a red bean paste. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe, and as usual, if you want to see more recipes like this, remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye!